What's going on, guys? My name is Arrow. In today's video, I want to give you a quick breakdown of the build that I'm playing as my second build of the PoE 2 Early Access. It's pretty fast, it's smooth, it's fun, and it's got great boss damage. We are playing Poison Bow Pathfinder. Let's jump in. One of the great things about this build is that it's a one-button build. Outside of fighting rares, you just press your gas arrow, and then you have 1 or 2 extra buffs that you want to click for bosses. Our gearing is really straightforward. It doesn't require any expensive uniques, and I am farming tier 15 maps with the same gear that I had on in tier 7s. As you can see in the background, basically you just click your gas arrow, the arrows hit the ground, the gas expands, and everything dies. You can use multiple arrows to put down multiple gas clouds. Those clouds will overlap, causing multiple poisons on the enemy, and then those gas clouds will tick and add additional poisons. Now, I'm aware that you can explode the gas clouds. We are not doing that in this build. I find it to be more work. You have to press an extra button or wear a particular unique, and then you lose your poisons on the enemy. The gas cloud stays up and continues to poison things, and you can actually use it as kind of a defensive layer as well. When I do expeditions, I put gas all around me before it starts, and then anything that gets close dies. So let's jump in and look at the gear and the gems. Keep in mind, things are going to be changing constantly. I'm still testing, I'm still changing, and I'm still updating the planner that is down in the description. Make sure you go give that a click if you want to look at all of my gems and items and my passive tree. I may be making a full MAXROLL guide for this build once I have everything perfectly tweaked, so look forward to that. If you're enjoying this content, make sure you give a like, comment, and subscribe. And follow me over on my Twitch, twitch.tv/AER0__. All right, so we are at level 87. My character path of getting stuck on shit, because that seems to be every single time I've died in this game so far is me getting stuck on something. We are not even res capped, as you see here. We are doing tier 15 maps. Now, I do die from time to time in tier 15s, but I really need to get my my chaos res up and fix my other reses. The defensive layers of this build are life and ES. We have an ES pool that we use with Ghost Dance. We have a fairly large evasion pool that will generate energy shield for us when we get hit. We don't get hit very often because of Wind Dancer and all of our evasion. So you see we have 74% evasion with 8,400 total evasion rating, and that is because we are running acrobatics. Acrobatics gives us 70% less evasion rating, but allows us to evade all hits. This is incredibly powerful, and I think evasion on its own is not very good. You pretty much need to build into acrobatics if you're going to use it. The reason for that is that in the endgame, slams and AoE skills are most of the things that are going to hurt you. Every once in a while, you will get barraged with projectiles, but I found that large AoE slams are the most deadly things that you can meet in the endgame. So acrobatics to me is absolutely mandatory if you're going to play an evasion-based build. But with that said, because we can avoid all hits, it makes this 74% number pretty good. That includes Detonate Dead, Boss Slams, any other on-death effects, pretty much anything that hits. So quickly talk about gear. Most of my gear is just life and res, but what isn't we'll talk about. So you want to get a really high evasion chest, because on the tree we are running Spectral Ward. This is basically half of the old Trickster node that gives you energy shield per evasion on your chest. The more evasion you have, the more ES you'll get. We are also running Subterfuge Mask, which gives you evasion per max ES on your helmet. So I am running a hybrid because it's a lot easier to afford. It's only 76 int requirement, and stats are very challenging to get in this game. I think I paid like 30 exalts for this. It was a pretty nice find, but it's got a huge amount of evasion and ES on it. A little tip for buying gear: always try to buy gear that doesn't already have things socketed in them, because it will make the item appear better on the trade site. So make sure that you scroll down a bit if you're sorting by total ES or something like that. Scroll down and look at what's available that doesn't already have something socketed in it. So that is chest and helmet. The amulet, I am getting Spirit here, and I'm basically getting Spirit just so I can run Despair. Despair is on Blasphemy. Blasphemy costs 60 Spirit to use. I actually don't think I recommend this. I was running this because I had a lot of buttons in my build earlier when I was trying to figure out what the best kind of DPS rotation was for poison. And now that I only have a couple of buttons, I'm thinking taking Despair off of this, putting it back onto a regular self-cast curse is going to be the better move. Save myself some Spirit. You want to get projectile skill levels wherever you can. I have a couple on my quiver here. I have a couple more on my bow. This is a very nice bow. Again, I paid around 30 to 40 exalts for this. Additional arrows are super strong. If you can run 2 arrows, then it's pretty comfortable to drop Scatter Shot, which gives you a less damage multiplier. So basically what you want on your bow is you want to be using a dual string that gives you an additional arrow, because every arrow that you drop puts an additional gas cloud on enemies that can also add its own stacks. You want physical damage and you want projectile skills. In the end game, 2 arrows on your bow is pretty mandatory, but while you're getting there, just 1 is fine. The snakebite gloves, these are 1x, you can get 1,000 of these and corrupt them. I corrupted these myself to get an extra socket. This allows you to get 1 additional poison, which on Pathfinder is 2. So we go from 8 to 10, that's 25% more damage. I know a lot of people like to run the Plague Finger gloves in this slot so that they can run elemental damage. That's a nice thing to do. In my opinion, it's a little bit harder to do that early. You don't have quite as much damage available to you. This is just 25% more damage. It's trivial to keep our stacks up, so I will happily take this extra damage. I think in the end game, a swap to Ellie might be the move if you're going to min-max this. But in my opinion, early Snakebite is a no-brainer. The rest of my gear just basically has res, life, and I needed a little bit of intelligence. You can grab Leech on your rings or on your bow. Leech and Mana Leech, both are useful. I have a Thawing Charm. I find that I get frozen the most in the endgame of all the problems that you could solve with a charm, but you can put whatever you want here. So for gems, I'm running Gas Arrow here. You can see we're up to level 26. You've got Comorbidity for an additional poison. We've got Deadly Poison for more poison damage. I'm running Bursting Plague for clear. There's not a ton of great options. You could run an Inspiration here, honestly, and solve a lot of your mana problems, which we'll get to when we talk about the tree. And then I'm running Concentrated Effect. I've been swapping Scattershot in and out, trying to figure out which I like better. Scattershot allows you to get more poisons on enemies quicker, which will help your clear and will allow you to run around more against bosses and spend less time poisoning them. However, 40% more damage from effect is really good, so you can swap in Scattershot for Bursting Plague on bosses. We have a Vine Arrow that's basically just utility, Font of Mana and Font of Blood for some regen of mana and regen of life. I have Encumbrance here for more slow. Our Dark Effigy Totem, this is not super efficient because the totem dies very easily, but we run Withering Touch on it to get some Wither, Arcane Tempo, and Persistence. This gives us skill effect duration and totem duration. This is the best setup I can find for Wither. Nothing really feels good, so this is just what we got. I run a Barrage setup that gives more damage from Premeditation, more damage from the quality, as well as Ingenuity and Mobility. Basically what I do is I press my spacebar. Whenever the boss teleports to a new spot, I will press this and it will fire my main skill 2 times and get to max stacks just about right away. It's not a huge amount more damage, but I took a lot of the buttons out of the build, so it's a nice feel-good way to get 10 stacks on a boss instantly. Like I said, our Blasphemy curse here, I probably am going to get rid of this, but I haven't quite decided what I'm going to do, so make sure that you check out the planar down below and the potential upcoming guide on MAXROLL. We have Ritualistic Curse and Magnified Effect. These both give AoE for our Blasphemy. Wind Dancer is linked to blinds enemies when it hits. Anytime we get hit by melee, it consumes all of the stages and triggers Gale Force, which knocks enemies back. We also have Pin and Lockdown. This will actually pin white mobs sometimes and keep them from attacking you. This is really nice for when you get overwhelmed. And lastly, Ghost Dance has a Vitality and Fast Forward. Fast Forward gives us faster generation of our Ghost Shrouds. You can see we're at 2.7 seconds between Ghost Shrouds right now. It's pretty good. For the Ascendancy, I only have 3 points right now. I will be taking Running Assault as soon as I do my Uber Lab, but I cannot stand the labs in the game right now. I really don't enjoy them. I might pay for a carry or something. I just hate them. I was originally planning on running Enduring Elixirs, but it turns out that you can't press your life flask when you're at full life, which means you'd have to have some life cost attached to your skill if you wanted to use it that way, but then you can only press it right after you attack. You can't have too much regen. It just doesn't feel very good, so we're not going to be running this at all. However, Overwhelming Toxicity and Contagious Contamination feel amazing. This is a huge amount of damage, and then the spread of poisons is quite nice. Our third node over here is Traveler's Wisdom, along with the node that paths you to it. We give you 6 passive points, basically just extra stuff for you to take on the tree, which we will talk about now. I passed through the movement speed at the start. I actually recommend that you go through proj damage because this does affect your cloud. Interestingly enough, the way the cloud works is it actually is based off of your hit damage. The language says it does not hit, but poisons enemies as though hitting. So it calculates your DPS with your bow and then will poison them based on that hit. So things like projectile damage does really help your damage. So I would actually recommend pathing this way. I just wanted to get more move speed because I like going fast. You come over here, grab Crippling Toxins, Stacking Toxins, some more movement speed here, some more movement speed here, lots of evasion wherever we can get it. We take this entire wheel over here for evasion. Acrobatics is mandatory, but I would wait until you have somewhere between 12 and 15,000 evasion before you take this, because it's going to lower your evasion significantly. Get more poisons up here, which is super nice. More duration, which is very important. Poison Magnitude, like I said, we talked about Spectral Ward and Subterfuge Mask, and then we have to solve mana. If you run a 6-link with Inspiration, you probably might not need this, but reduced mana cost while not on low mana is massive. This is only 2 points. This is a no-brainer. And then over here for 3 points, we're grabbing recover mana on kill. The goal is for me to also have mana leech, so this will be an extra 35%. I'll probably end up dropping this when I get a 6th link, so I'll get 5 points back. I do actually recommend leveling until 2nd lab or until you get gas arrow as lightning arrow and lightning rod, because it's just a little bit stronger early on. I personally leveled with poison because I prefer to do that. You absolutely can. You can go poison burst arrow and toxic growth, but it is probably going to be a little bit less damage. So that is up to you. All right, that's going to be it from me. Thank you for watching. If you like this sort of content, make sure you like and subscribe, comment down below, and follow me over on my Twitch, twitch.tv/AER0__. I'm taking today off, but I will be back streaming tomorrow. Appreciate you all for watching. And as always, take care.